will face Austin Brinling. 333 hitter at the top of this lineup. Brinling, the junior out of Bradenton, Florida. Really just came on late as a regular in the rotation for Mark Kingston. Had just one at bat entering the Arkansas series in April. Out in center field today. Ground ball to the right side, scooped up there by Hodo, and he'll race to the bag, and that'll be out number one.
I like Dave. I like when first basemen do that. I don't want you to have to flip it to me. I'll be there if you need as a pitcher, but
okay,
if
right.
you can get there, catch that ball, get to the bag without having to flip it. Nice job right there by Will Hodo. Where'd you think I was going with that?
Like, I don't want to run. That's what you're saying. I don't want to run all the way over.
No,
take it.
I'm all about going over there, but you don't have to flip it. Don't flip it.
Ethan Petry, 298, 20 homers, and 51 runs batted in. Sophomore out of Land O'Lakes, Florida. He looks at one up in the zone. Fouled into the mitt of Matt Cassetti. Boy, Mac has had a great season behind the plate for Alabama. He's caught almost every inning this year.
Nearly every inning, pretty much. And the biggest thing about that is the bat hasn't sacrificed him.
No.
Like a lot of times you see catchers, and early on it kind of was, but he caught fire about, I think, like I'd say like the last 3 or 4 conference weekends, and it's been really good. But the fact that the legs are still there after catching as many innings as he has been awesome.
Up in the zone. Now it's full at 3-2. Petry had a 12-game hit streak snapped Friday at Tennessee. Went 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts over the last 2 games in Knoxville, trying to shake that off. And he looks at a called third strike, 2 down.
Well, a little establishing the fastball in early. Greg Ferrone dots up. Matt Cassetti might have looked a little bit in, and you can see Ethan Petry kind of leans in. It obviously surprised him, that fastball coming in, not ready to swing.
Blake Jackson now, he looks at a first pitch. South Carolina has the highest walk rate in the SEC at 15%. They only swing at the first pitch 26% of the time. The second pitch that Jackson looks at is a base hit to right field.
That's kind of the makeup of South Carolina's offense. Aggressive in the zone, do everything you can to take pitches out of the zone, and he takes the first pitch slider, goes back to the well, too much in the middle of the plate, and Jackson gets on the board with a little knock.
Here comes Cole Messina to the plate. Cole, the junior out of Summerville, South Carolina, second team All-SEC performer. He looks at a first pitch strike. 16 homers, 18 doubles for Cole, 312 batting average. He's been really good at the plate in his splits. He's 306 against lefties, 314 against righties. Boy, as a coach, I love seeing those kind of numbers.
Right.
Makes it easy to pinch you in the lineup every day.
We're going into the season. To me, he was my most important player. Maybe not going to be the most valuable and have the best player of the year type numbers, but as a catcher, saves so many runs. I think he's in the top 2 in runs saved in college baseball as a catcher. So he obviously does that at the plate, all right, behind the plate, but also at the plate puts up great numbers.
Up in the zone. Greg Ferrone out there on the mound. He has pitched a bunch over his career. First year with the Tide. Spent last year at Louisville, but started at Herkimer College in New York. A senior out of Schenectady, New York, 6'6", 240. has started the last 5 weekends for Alabama. Started the year out of the bullpen. They were like, you know what, we need somebody to come up and chew some innings. And Ferrone's not one of those guys that's going to wow you with high velocity or unbelievable spin rates, but he just gets the ball over the plate.
But I just like the part that, I mean, it's a guy that knows who he is, right? He's going to be a guy that's going to pitch off the fastball, mix in the off-speed pitches, but still knowing that he's got the big body, the high downward plane, he gets on top of the ball, and what he does with that is he also gets guys out with the fastball and just trusting it. And it's not bad stuff. It's up to 94 miles an hour.
Out to right field, long run there by Hameter, diving catch.
With Sink, ground ball guy, and the biggest thing for him is, can he live at the bottom of the zone? Can he get that low strike? If you get the low strike and he's down there, you're going to see a lot of ground balls, which is what you want to see in this big part.
First pitch popped up by Gage Miller. Gage, if you're not familiar with his story, a junior college transfer from Bishop State Community College, grew up in Pennsylvania. Certainly had a great 2 years at Bishop State. He had 397, 7 homers last year. Also stole 23 bases, hit 391 with 8 homers as a freshman in junior college. Comes to Alabama, first pitch of the first scrimmage, hit a home run to straightaway center. I think that was about the time Coach Vaughn said, okay, maybe we're on to something.
Well, that's what he told me. He said, I want a leadoff guy that really strikes some fear into the pitcher. He goes, I don't want the guy thinking he can just throw the first pitch of the game over the plate and not get a swing. He said, Gage Miller won't let you do that. And again, a lot of leadoff home runs. He's one of those guys that will get on the plate. The toes will be on the line. He'll challenge you to throw the fastball in. Always on the fastball. It's one of those things you're thinking, I looked a little bit fooled. No, you'll never sneak the cheese by him.
Here's the 3-2. Smoked. 92 miles an hour. It is such a simple operation at the plate. I mean, there is not a whole lot going on there.
And I think that's what makes him good. It's not a big stride. The hands stay smooth. They don't go very far, and they stay inside the ball.
See ball, hit ball.
That makes it easy, right?
SQ 3-4 on the year, trying to get Miller out to start this one. Out to center field. Rendling makes the catch, one down. That's got to be a pretty big out there if you're Dylan Eskew. Don't want to pitch with traffic. One down. And that'll take us to Ian Petrutz. Petrutz, the junior out of New Jersey. It was funny, on Saturday at Auburn, there was about a almost 3-hour delay. It was the top of the 9th inning. He just hit a 3-run homer. Rain came in, bad storm blew through there. He might have been the only guy that needed that game to be an official game, because if they had called it there, they'd have gone back to the 8th inning, and he'd have lost his 3-run homer.
Yeah, he was the one politicking for it.
Right.
You had Auburn's pitcher begging that it goes to the 8th inning.
Right. Ground ball to the right side, and that one is gloved there by Parker Nolan. His throw is up against the backstop. Now it's going to go as a base hit. And he'll get second base. Did they get in the dugout?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Like I said, base hit, then it'll be an error. E4 on the throw, getting to second base. Nolan does a great job of getting to this ball. I love how he slides and pops up. But when he pops up, it looks like he can't get the ball out of the glove. And on the spike throw, Petrie's not able to stop it, and that gets into the dugout. Gets a man in scoring position for Alabama.
Here's Justin LeBron, the freshman shortstop. First pitch he sees, shoots it down the right field line. That'll be a souvenir. Oh, nice Nice little grab out there, but aren't you a little bit old? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good dude right there. Didn't hesitate, gave it up. Made a nice play and finished it off. Boy, LeBron, hard to believe this. We talk about freshmen not getting a whole lot of time just because of the nature of the game these days with all the transfers in, but it's hard to keep this guy off the field. He has been penciled in since day one as their shortstop. A guy that Coach Rob Vaughn desperately wanted and needed and got him. Parker Nolan makes the play, but that'll move Petrutz over to third base. And there are 2 outs. Well, William Hameter coming to the plate after this spectacular grab. Saw another diving play in the first game as Mac Bingham lanes out. I got to tell you, Mac, well, you made a nice play, including the glasses flying off.
Mac almost caught his glasses, too. You could see the eyes were trying to
that would have
catch
made it. That would have taken it next level. But Hameter's catch, certainly one for the ages. Can't forget Ashton Larson in right field up against the wall had a heck of a catch, too. He didn't necessarily dive, but he collided with that wall and possibly saved a home run.
Hameter just had more airtime. And I think that's what wins the battle when it comes to that. He just had more airtime hanging in the air.
Oh, 2 on Hameter. Hameter's been in and out of the lineup. Returned to regular action in the month of May, and he's hit safely in 9 straight entering the tournament. Continues, it's up to 10, and he picks up an RBI, and Alabama has a 1-0 lead.
You know, Dave, this is the classic story of always be ready, right? You never know when your opportunity is going to come. And I heard y'all tell the story last week, but William Hameter, a senior, been around for a while, played a lot early in his career, then has been on the bench as of late, and been more of a pinch hitter, kind of a rotational guy, but they come down with food poisoning at Mississippi State, and he needs to step in, and he has absolutely stepped in with a vengeance and keeps making plays defensively and getting huge hits.
To second base again. Boy, they're trying to pick on Parker Nolan. He makes the play there, and South Carolina getting off the field, but they give up a run, and Alabama leads it after 1. America. It's Greg Ferrone, works to Parker Nolan.
I didn't. The one about the 14 of the 15 having at least one team in the participant in the finals. I didn't know that.
It's crazy. It's just.
And a lot of times you're talking it's both teams. Like last year, LSU versus Florida.
Boy, they had Nolan played perfectly. Justin LeBron making the play.
Nolan's like, they're picking on me in the field, and then I hit a ball at the middle thinking I'm going to get hit, and the guy's standing right there.
Baseball's hard, man. It is a hard game.
Left fielder number 7, Kennedy Jones.
So Kennedy Jones now. The junior out of Norfolk, Virginia. Well, they need to get Kennedy going. He is 0 for his last 17. Transfer in from UNC Greensboro. Swing and a miss.
You talk about, like you just said it, baseball is hard. I had the game right before that when this 0 for 17 started. 4 for 4.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a barrel, and it was like, golly, this guy's catching fire, and then it's bam.
That's how you break an 0 for 17 streak. Take a 2-2 pitch and send it out to right field.
little shock on that Alabama didn't go with another fastball, because the way Kennedy Jones took the pitch right before that to set him up was the fastball. Then you go breaking ball, middle part of the plate, like you said, staying on that ball, breaking out of a slump. Sometimes it just takes one good AB to get you right.
Dalton Reeves now. Out of Lexington, South Carolina. Spent 2 years at Presbyterian. Also played at Erskine College. Another guy that early in the season wasn't in the lineup, had just one at-bat going toward the end of March, but he has now found some regular playing time. His first 2 hits of the year were both home runs. Reeves at 6'5", 215 pounds. Designated hitter today.
When you talk about Pop, 9 home runs and only 92 at-bats. It's getting it done, right? 1 home run every 10 at-bats. That plays.
Ferrone checking his device for the pitch. That ball's hit right center. Does it hang in the air long enough for McCants to get there? Yes, it does. Kennedy Jones scampers back to first, but there's 2 outs. Boy, talk about a guy who glides in the outfield, McCants.
We talked a lot early on in that first game about how big the outfield, and not just the outfield, but like the gaps, and just having to have speed in the outfield to cover that. Well, that's what you do. You draw up a man like that. TJ McCants can go get it with anybody in center field. Especially, you mentioned that ball hanging up in the air. Speed like that is going to run under it.
Here's Talmadge LaCroix. A junior out of Belton, South Carolina. Started every game at third base for the Gamecocks this year. Only Gamecock to do that this year. Start at the same position. Lifts that one in the air. Shallow right. Can anybody get it? Eblin is there and makes a catch. Well done by Bryce Eblin with his 3 hits. Dave Neal, Lance Cormier from the SEC Baseball Tournament here in Hoover, Alabama. LSU knocks off Georgia 9-1 in our first game. Matt Cassetti to start things off for Alabama. But Condon, by the way, 0 for 4 today. Popped him up the right side. Petrie can't make the play. It looked as though Parker Nolan might have lost the ball. He kind of stopped.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I think that has to be Parker Nolan's ball. With this is the way Petrie, see, he's playing a little bit more towards second base. That's a long way to run. Nolan's running at the ball, and see, yeah, he sees. I think he thought he was camped under it, and he was going to allow him to catch it. But then once you start seeing those feet start scrambling, but yeah, that to me, that's second base ball all day.
Cassetti has a little extra life. Looks at ball 1. Cassetti, we talked about him defensively a little bit and what he's just meant to this Alabama staff, but you can't overstate his .329 average, 4 homers and 39 runs batted in for a guy that has played so many innings this year. On his 2nd season catching the Tide pitching staff. He has just been fantastic behind the plate, and again, another one of these guys, if you can get this kind of offense out of him, you're way overachieving because he's such a good defensive catcher. That could have been a problem. Worked it out. So did Cassetti. Worked it out on a 1-2 pitch out to right field. And another base knock for the Alabama backstop. I mean, the dude leads the conference throwing out 16 guys on the year, and now sitting over 330.
And again, that's the part where you would go, you would understand if the offense suffers because he's catching so much. The legs are he's going to lose them. They're going to be tired, especially toward the end of the year. But that, again, shows you the training staff, how well he takes care of his body, all the things, getting in the hot tub, the cold tub in between games.
That ball is smacked by McCants to right field. It's going to drop for a base hit. Gassetti round second. McCants, he'll hold up at second. So the Tide have him at second and third, and TJ McCants just came up with his 16th double of the year.
But then you're taught, sinker ball pitcher like Eske, you got to get the ball up. That ball's mid-thigh, middle part of the plate. TJ McCants unloads on this ball. Thought it just showed you how big the gaps are. I thought that ball was going to get to the wall. Gassetti doesn't know if he's going to catch that ball. That's why he has to hold up just a little bit. Why it's only second and third instead of second base and one running.
Will Hodo, the junior, hitting 8th in the lineup. And that hit him. For Hodo, that is the 10th time he's been hit by a pitch this year.
Second baseman, number 13, Bryce Eblin.
Now Bryce Eblin, the 9-hole hitter, 279 on the year with 6 home runs. Eblin 4 for 9 with 9 runs batted in with the bases loaded for the senior. He just hasn't hit. It's been tough for him to stay healthy in his Alabama career. Seems like it's something every year, and that one's going to hit him. Oh boy, that looked like inside, but I don't know if it was obvious that it hit him, but our home plate umpire, Brandon Cooper, clearly saw something. And so get RBI for Eblin there.
Yeah, I really think that only he saw it because he was the one that reacted before Eblin did.
So they're going to take another look at this.
You can see, I always like the player's reaction.
Oh, it did. Caught the elbow guard.
But you see how that sticks out as a pitcher? I'm going, that can't stick out that far.
I mean, I talked about this earlier. I forget who I was working with, but it might have been Ben McDonald. We were talking about the guys wear the oven mitts in the back pocket. If a ball hits that, that's a hit by pitch too.
I understand the jersey because it's on, you have to wear the jersey, but that extra thing.
My other thought about all the gear they wear up to whatever you have on, whether it's the wrist guard, elbow guard, shin guard, any guard you have, when you get on base, you have to leave it on.
You have to play with.
Whatever you go to the plate with, that's what you're staying on the bases with. They might think twice about some of that stuff.
And he doesn't score on that double because he trips and falls.
Here's Gage Miller, top of the lineup, first pitch, pops him up. Gavin Casas will watch it sail into the seats. Well, look at all the infielders running that way. Boy, that ball went up, and they all got their gloves in front of their eyes trying to shield it. It must be a really bad glare. Matter of fact, Talmadge LaCoy at shortstop still checking things out.
Well, the sun, you can tell the sun's behind us. Obviously, a lot of shade. The fans are getting that relief now, but you're right, when those guys look up.
High in the air, out to center field. Brenling, he'll make the catch. Here is the tag home, and another run scores, and Alabama pushes it out to a 3-0 lead.
It's a big out, though. That's something when you talk about
Roll time.
bases loaded, nobody outs, and you only give up that sac fly. You're a sinker ball guy. You get the one ground ball. This is how you get out of that inning.
8 bases loaded.
Ole Miss. Obviously, Ole Miss, a couple wins, and they can, you know, hope they want to try to play themselves into the postseason. So obviously, they need probably a couple more wins. Florida, they need wins to stay above 500. And, you know, the resume part of the RPI and stuff is good, but just the overall record, if they fall under 500, doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to get the at-large bid. So
500 doesn't get it either. You got to be over 500.
So, but that's also too. You get the win, and guess what? You have to play 2 more games. That could be 2 losses. Then also that makes it even harder. So it's a tough call. And then you still have Mississippi State fighting to be a host. They want to bring postseason baseball to Starkville, which they believe is the best atmosphere in all of college baseball, and I have to agree with them parts of it. So, yeah, Vanderbilt still has stuff to play for, but I think the other 3 have a little bit more.
The Gators able to win. They're at 28 and 26. If they can win today, certainly that would push them to a point where they wouldn't fall below that line of demarcation. And they'll be over it regardless, but the question is, does the 28 and 27 team have enough with 13 conference wins? Gators are able to pick up 2 in the series finale against the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. Swing and a miss there as Petrutz heads back to the dugout for out number 2. So a nice job coming out of the bullpen for Becker.
A tough left on left at bat right here. Becker does a nice job. He loves the fastball. That's his best pitch. And a lot of times guys think they're going to go to the all-swing and just get him out. Becker stays with the heater, and that's what the MO on him. But you saw Ian Petrutz go right to William Hamner, another left-handed batter, in the lineup, and just basically talk him through his at-bat.
So Justin LeBron, .338 average, 11 homers and 34 runs batted in. He looks at a strike, 1-1. Well, that was such a big second out. You just felt Alabama had a bunch of momentum, scoring 2 here in the second. Well, LeBron's been so fun to watch this year as a freshman. Start thinking about him in the future and what that's going to look like. 6'2", 175. There is plenty of room. We might not recognize him when they start the season next February.
Yeah, I think this is a guy that, too, we talk about getting more than you dreamed of at the plate. When he came into Alabama as a glove-first guy, maybe even not necessarily a glove only, but really he was heralded for the glove, and he has come in and sitting in a 3-hole.
How about the job Becker does on the
job where they really don't want to see much more than 4 in Omaha, which is setting the record, which they've done a lot as the SEC. I think ACC has done it once, but the SEC a bunch of times, getting 4 of the 8 teams in.
Gavin Casas hitting 9th in this lineup. Tries to shoot that one down the left field line. It's foul out of play. I mentioned that softball. Of the 13 teams in the SEC that made the NCAA tournament, 7 are still left as they head to the Supers. Tennessee, Florida, and Missouri all hosting Super Regionals. Texas and Oklahoma, top 2 seeds in the softball tournament. They'll be in the SEC next year.
I know
about that.
A lot of the talk is, hey, how is it going to do for the football strength and everything? But you're talking about 2 of the best teams in Division I softball too.
Casas shoots it out to left center. Petrutz, McCants on the run, and they're just going to watch it sail into the bullpen. Casas with his 9th home run of the year has put South Carolina on the board. Bring some life to that South Carolina dugout.
That's exactly what they needed, Dave.
Center fielder number 8, Austin Redmond.
For Greg Ferrone, that is the 13th home run he has given up this year. That is the most on this team, by one over Ben Hess.
Two guys who love the high fastball, and that sometimes that's when you are a guy that pitches with the fastball up, you're gonna miss, not up enough, and that's when hitters are gonna make you pay. That ball off the bat, I was watching Ian Petrutz, and he looked like, all right, I might have a shot, That ball was way out of here.
Top of the lineup in Brenling now. He grounded out to first to start the game. A junior out of Bradenton, Florida, transfer from North Florida. Now it's full at 3-2. South Carolina's roster features 17 transfers, 16 from the Division I ranks. Got a junior college transfer, Dylan Eskew, who started this game. He's out of Chipola. LeBron comes up firing. Are you kidding me? The defense we have seen in a game and a half here at the Hoover Met has been fantastic, and LeBron adding to that highlight reel.
Boy, especially leadoff hitter, ball in the 6-hole, had no shot. He gets him out by a step and a half. It just shows you the arm strength right here, because the weight's going away. He's off the back foot. Heck of a play.
Petrie hammers this one out to left. Petrutz will watch this one hit the wall. The 21st home run for Ethan Petrie. That was a laser off that secondary. So now it's Blake Jackson. 286, 4 homers and 23 runs batted in. 2 home runs this inning for South Carolina. Jackson singled his first time up. Jackson had a 2 home run game against Kentucky at the end of April, including a game winner. Had a tough weekend against Tennessee where he went 0 for 12 to finish up the regular season, but starts this one off with a base hit today. Some technology issues. Ethan Petrie's home run swing.
Boy, look at him use the legs, get that leverage. I mean, short and quick to the ball. That's kind of been the story we talked about. How short and quick can you be to the ball? And again, when you're that strong, that's what you do with it.
Of course, had 23 home runs his freshman season. I mean, he was kind of lost in the shuffle with what Kaggs was doing at Florida last year, his home run stuff. Condon had a bunch of home runs last year. Petrie is a freshman. I mean, 23 is not a bad number, but he was chasing a couple other guys.
Yeah, some of the seasons we're seeing this year are just like video game-esque, and other guys aren't getting a lot of credit that they normally would because of the seasons they're having, just because of Charlie Condon's season and Caglione at the plate and on the mound. I mean, they're stealing the show.
2 now to Blake Jackson.
This might be his last hitter. Up to 50 pitches. He's coming back on short rest. You got a righty on deck. You got a right-hander in the bullpen.
Line drive, base hit, drops in. Blake going to turn the corner, put the brakes on. Let's see what they have going on in that Alabama dugout. As Cole Messina strides to the plate.
Aiden Moza, a strikeout guy, tough right-on-right matchup with the sliders that he goes out and throws. But everything from Greg Ferrone this whole inning has been mid-thigh or higher. It's one of those where, as a pitcher, when you get that after that hit and you get the pick off to first base and probably another one, you know it's happening.
Here comes Jason Jackson to be really good in this situation. 1 down, 1 on in a 1-run game. Coming in here in the 3rd inning.
A little steady dose of that. That's what you're going to see. It's fastball up to 95, but it's predominantly sliders in that 84 to 86 mile an hour range. Gets 45% whiff rate, which is unbelievable. So when it's good and it's down, lots of swing and misses.
Cole Messina. Base hit to left. And the bats are hot right now for South Carolina. That is their 4th hit this inning. Now Parker Nolan with an opportunity to do some damage. Base hit may tie this one up. Gamecocks have coming into this SEC tournament having dropped 6 straight. I mean, just a few weeks ago, you're thinking South Carolina going to be a host site.
Absolutely.
Slicing toward the line, Petrutz will make the catch in foul territory. Spins, fires in, but both runners tag up. So Parker Nolan is retired, but runners move up 90 feet. And a tying run at 3rd, go-ahead run out at 2nd base for Kennedy Jones.
That's, when you talk to most coaches in the league, obviously the words gauntlet and, you know, regional atmosphere, but it's weekend to weekend, because you can be sitting pretty one weekend and 1 or 2 weekends later and you're fighting for your life.
Kennedy Jones, a base hit, his first at bat of the 2nd inning. That snapped an 0 for 17 streak for Kennedy. Really good slider.
That's where you want to put it. You can put it right there. That's when a hitter, you just tip your cap, walk off, and say, I'll try it again next time. Toughest thing, though, pitchers, though, we try to make it better.
Some inside 94 fastball.
Again, if he starts to believe in the fastball that it's a really good pitch, because it can be for him, I think he just lost a lot of confidence early in the year because it would get hit when he would throw it. But if he can throw it, just because when guys start to sit on the slider and you keep having to throw it and throw it and throw it again, they're starting to see it and it's not as good. When the fastball just sneaks it in there and, like I said, ties him up, now he's thinking, wait, will he go back in there again or will he go slider away? What's he going to do?
Did he go? No swing. Jeff Head down at first base. off the plate again. Now it's full, 3-2.
Yeah, Dave, you talked about how he can throw, but look at the block right here. This is almost in the, this is in the other's batter's box. You said he'd get in the body over there, saving a run.
And they're loaded. And Dalton Reeves with a big opportunity now. So this inning has started with a home run, a ground out, a home run, a single, a fly out, and a walk. A lot of activity here in the third. Dalton Reeves, it better be right in your wheelhouse right now.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to get a 2-0 fastball.
He got a pitch to hit deep to right. Is it enough? Grand slam, Dalton Reeves. South Carolina's out in front. I'm guessing that was in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't think it was a fastball. He was sitting on the slider, knowing the scouting report, and talking about a momentum shift for the game.
Now Talmadge LaCroix out at shortstop today. .369 feet off the bat of Dalton Reeves. It is 6-3. South Carolina.
You could hear the South Carolina dugout. See it up, stay short to the ball because they know it's going to be a slider. You want to get the slider up in the zone, a lot more hittable. Because if it's down, it's going to be a swing and a miss.
McCants makes the catch, and the inning is finally over. But
it all started with Becker, the inning previous, minimizing the damage that Alabama was getting ready to give us. So I think it all kind of built on each other.
Yeah, Coach, I agree exactly with what you just said. The two big punch outs in a huge spot. You really gave that momentum, but what about Dalton Reeves making you look smart? 10 home runs in less than 100 at-bats. What has he done, and what has he done to turn it on?
Well, the flip side of that would be, if you were so smart, why didn't you play the first part of the year? But, again, when you go in the transfer portal and you get guys from levels below the SEC, sometimes the adjustment period takes a little bit of time. He struggled some in the fall. Was getting better early in the spring and just kept getting better and better. And once we figured out that it looks like this is feasible, he's run with it. So it's a great story for him.
Hey, King, last thing before we let you get out of here. What's pitching look like moving forward?
Johnny Holstaff will use what we need to use for the most part. We have everybody available for the most part. And we'll go with who we think is best based on the matchups.
All right, buddy. Listen, thanks for the time. Always great to visit with you.
Same here. Thanks.
You could just see it in that dugout, that inning. I mean, it's just like, as he said, just to kind of let it out.
Deep breath,
yeah.
Right? And even he talks like that, but he's a positive guy. You can always hear him, preaching to the team. I heard right when the ball went up in the air, he said, all right, boys, good inning. And that's, you got to love a coach that's just positive to you.
Ground ball. How about LaCroix? Safe at first. Boy, Cade Snell flying down the line, beats it out.
Little jam shot. Watch the spin on it.
Ooh.
Kicks in right on the court. The last second just kicks in on him. Whoop.
Oh, that little bobble.
Yep.
Just a fraction of a bobble out there may have cost him. Well, that was a great replay, man. Sometimes we forget how much that ball is moving. Off the end of the bat. LaCroix says he has it, and he does. 2 down.
So that one's a lot easier to catch. I like that one. It's not spinning like the other one was. That's right. We as fans, we just go, hey, make the play. You catch those ground balls all the time. You don't see the spin on that, especially when the ball was a jam shot off of Snell's bat.
And now TJ McCants doubled and scored in the second inning. TJ has fit in very nicely with Alabama. Of course, again, if you're not familiar with his story, 3 years at Ole Miss, part of that national championship team. While he was at Ole Miss, his mother got sick, passed away, had that kind of weighing on him. Didn't have the kind of season he wanted. Just a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Felt like he needed a change, a fresh start somewhere. Felt like Alabama could be the place. Also wanted to try to get back on the infield. And at the time, there was an opportunity for him to be a shortstop, which is what he grew up playing. But Ole Miss, they had a guy named Jacob Gonzalez who was pretty good and forced him to play center field. Well, next thing you know, they bring in Justin LeBron, and LeBron takes over short. So TJ's still in center field and has handled it so well. And it's just been a really big addition for Coach Vaughn in his first year at Alabama.
Yeah, because that could have gone the opposite way. Hey, you're coming here thinking I'm going to have a chance to play the infield, and then you kind of have the oh, poor me's that I don't get a chance to do that. But he's made the best of it. Good change of scenery for TJ.
And I had a chance to talk last week with his coach at Ole Miss, Mike Bianco, about it. And it was clearly an amicable separation. They both just felt like the young man just needed a change. I mean, it was... Coach Bianco couldn't speak more highly of TJ. That one drops in for a base hit. And Snell will wind up at third, so now Alabama has him at the corners.
Well, Dave, sometimes you just need different words in your ear, right? I mean, to be able to get away from what Ole Miss teaches, and it could be great for some people, but sometimes it doesn't work. Watch right here. TJ keeps the hands in, and this is just you would say, he muscled up and pulls them in tight. If not, boy, that ball's off your hands. Stinging the hands right there. He gets them in enough. Muscles it into the right field for a base hit.
Will Hodo, 271 on the year. Hodo hit by a pitch last time up. Badly on an 0-2 pitch. Two outs in the inning. Alabama trying to get some of that momentum back on their side of the field after a 6-run third inning for South Carolina. To the right side, and that'll do it for the Crimson Tide.
See how he feels. You know, it kind of probably a blessing in disguise a little bit on Saturday out at Auburn. You know, he was in there through 1.1 and then had a 2-hour rain delay. So we were able to get him out of there at that point, which allows him to give us some length today potentially. But like everybody, it's just what I told them before the game. Man, just give us what you got. Give me everything you got. And when it's your time's up, we'll go get the next guy in there. And so, like I said, man, I told Smoke, I said, you're going to be in the game when it matters. You know, so here he is. And I said, you might not be in there in the 8th and 9th, but hey, you never know. So he's going to go out and try to execute, hold us there, and we'll go from there.
Well, Coach, obviously first year at Alabama, so first year in the SEC tournament. What is this atmosphere like, everything that you guys gotten to do so far?
Yeah, man, it's been great. I mean, this place just does it right. You know, I mean, it's a great setup. It's a fun environment. I mean, we got a great crowd here at, 1 o'clock game. And so, man, it's what you work hard for. You know, for a lot of years, I've been the guy on the other end of the television set watching this, and to get to be here is pretty special. So proud of our kids and proud of the fight they've shown all year long. And, man, this is a resilient group. So I kind of joke saying we got them right where we want to be.
Yeah,
but at the same time, man, like, this group's been there. They don't shut down. They're going to keep competing until that last out, so I'm excited for them.
All right, buddy, we'll let you get going. Sorry about the base hit as we say goodbye.
No, you're good. Appreciate you
All
guys.
right, buddy, I'll talk to you.
Roll Tide.
Gavin Casas laces one down the line, and he'll wind up with a double.
He just mentioned it. He said Casas is a really good left-on-left matchup. He fought against Greg Ferrone, so you bring in another lefty, and Alton Davis goes right at him, and Gavin Casas makes him pay just inside. That's a fastball right on the outer third. That's just easy hitting right off the chalk.
Jeff Head staring right down on it.
See chalk fly, fair ball.
So now Davis, the guy they call Smoke, in some trouble here with a leadoff double, and the lineup flips back to Austin Brindling. And boy, it sure is nice to have a guy like Casas hitting in the 9-hole. And well, we're gonna take a moment and now Ethan Petrie. Ground ball to third. Miller goes to second. Can they turn it? They can. Boy, did Davis need that one behind him.
Davis is a little bit unorthodox because he has the reverse splits, especially with the lefty that you thinking, hey, the fastball's up to 95, great slider. I think he dominate lefties. They're hitting 306, righties 244, and all of a sudden you get that righty come up, that ground ball double play. Thought Miller made a good decision not to go to third base, to go to second.
Out to center field, McCants on the run, makes a catch, and the inning is over. And South Carolina, boy, had an opportunity with a leadoff double on the hit batter, but they got nothing on the board, but they still lead. Jeff Muir, Kenny Dunlapper.
Hey.
Those guys combining to get all that work done
That's
for
props
us.
Right
Appreciate
there.
that.
Knock the dust off of it.
If you think I'm coming up with that, you're crazy.
It's got to be in that book. You have a lot of pages in there.
Got way too many. I'm going to have to produce this tomorrow, I promise you. It can get a little messy at 6-7 hours of baseball. Alabama trailing by 3. Bryce Eblin. He looks at a strike, 2-1. Eblin talked about injuries. It's been a number of things. This year he had a bad hammy that kind of slowed him down.
That's been the thing with him. It hasn't been anything like really crazy, but it's just the nagging ones that just keep him out long enough, and it usually seems to be right when he's kind of catching a little bit of fire. Then he pulls back. By the time he comes back, it's not the same type of hitter. But he is a big part of this Alabama lineup.
It's 3-2. Called strike 3. Eblin doesn't like it. He'll have to stroll back to the dugout as South Carolina throws it around the horn. But the committee's thinking about the value of a tournament win or loss.
Right, well, because the question you asked me, who needs to win the most? Well, right there, Vanderbilt needs to win the most because they're the last 4 in.
But how much stock is put in one game at a tournament?
When you either have a starter, if you want one of your rotation guys, he's coming back on multiple days short rest, or a Tuesday game, right? Because that's where you're playing. So your season comes down to a Tuesday game in Hoover.
Gage Miller. That'll drop for a base hit. Gage is going to stop with a single. And his hit show continues. That guy is just a monster at the plate.
Dave, we've talked so much about how short, quick it is, always on the heater, and this is a guy that loves to throw the fastball. Again, short, quick, hands inside, Becker is a little bit opposite. Most lefties are wanting to finish you with the slider. He wants to stay hard, and that's exactly plays perfectly in the hands of Gage Miller.
He had a great weekend to finish the regular season. He had 8 hits against Auburn pitching. As Ian Petrutz looks at strike 1.
Becker said, I do have the breaking ball. Don't worry about that. It's a nasty one. He just likes the fastball.
That one's a base hit back up the middle. Miller turns the corner, and they'll have him at the corners with 1 out.
Back-to-back hits, get the Crimson Tide faithful out of their seats, getting a cheer. And I talked to Coach Vaughn yesterday. I said, you really want to experience this tournament? Stick around to Saturday and watch how many fans you get as an Alabama coach and when your team's out here playing in Hoover. He said, I'd love to.
Ian Petrutz had struggled coming into the tournament. Just 5 for his last 26, but has 2 hits today. Here comes Matt Williams again out to the mound.
Out there because now that all their coaches are like, hey, look, he did it on short rest. Why can't you do what he did?
Don't talk to me. Right? Don't say this can't happen. You know, Gage had a season last year that out with an injury. You know, any opportunity, I'm guessing that he has to throw the ball, he's going to take it after sitting out a year because of health.
No doubt.
Did you miss any time in college because of any?
I did in my freshman year, toward the end of the year. And when it came to Hoover, I didn't pitch at all in the postseason. Just it got to the point I'd never really thrown it as a bullpen. And back then, there was no 1-inning closer, right? You came in the 6th inning and had a lot of innings as a freshman, and just by the end of the season, I couldn't even wash my hair. I couldn't pick my hand up over my.
So there was no, it was just tired.
Yeah. No, never really missed any time with an arm injury.
Ground ball out to short. They're going to go over to first and got him at first, but a run will score as Gage Miller steps on home. But a close play at first. Kind of in that no man's land over there.
Didn't know off the bat if it would be hit soft enough to not have a play, but nice job by Talmadge LeCroy. Charges this ball hard and quick out of the glove, makes the strong throw. You got to give a lot of credit, too, for Petrie, the stretch. I mean, that's it. We saw 6-4. He made a play in the inning before that. Yeah, he's out. Good stretch right there, though.
Another good example of why we're using the extra bag at first base, the green bag. You avoid stepping on the first baseman's ankle, trying to stretch that out. Runner has to hit that right side, that green bag over at first.
Well, how many times do you see the runner step on that first baseman's, ankle or Achilles? So it takes a lot of that away. Also allows you to stay in that runner's box, which that's one of the toughest plays you'll see from maybe it's a strikeout or a bunt where the catcher hits the guy in the back and like, well, he wasn't in the box. We're like, well, the bag's inside fair territory. I got to run there. So this gives you that opportunity.
That ball's blistered to right. Haminer will watch it bounce off the wall. Petrutz scores. He just turned on 93 and almost got it out of here. It's a 6-5 ball game now.
Yeah, he needed a little bit more lift, and you just said 93. Veach is almost 75% changeups. But the fact that he does throw 93, because the changeup's 75, the fastball is 93, you're thinking as a lefty, I'm going to see nothing but changeups. The pitch before that was a changeup, so the fact that he was on that shows you he was locked into the pitch. I think if he lifts it a little bit more, he might have that home run trot going.
Now Cade Snell. Well, that is way up in the sky. Talmadge LeCroy will wait on it to come down. It finally does, but a good bounce back inning for Alabama. Play against Vanderbilt Man, it's been a special treat watching guys like him come through here. You start thinking about, you know, having the opportunity to watch Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz and Wyatt Langford last year, and all those guys. Going to make a lot of money as this one keeps drifting and drifting. It's out of here. Oh my goodness. That did not look like it had enough juice. But Cole Messina just did it again. How about 4 home runs for the Gamecocks?
Boy, that's just a fastball right above the knee, showing you how strong he is.
Boy, and then Parker Nolan just got plunked. That ball traveled 409 feet to center field. I'm watching McCann,
yeah.
He was just kind of gliding. Gamecocks came in with 84 home runs on the year. Seventh in the Southeastern Conference. Way behind Tennessee and Georgia. Those teams had 141 and 140 respectively. There's a strike to Kennedy Jones, 1-1.
And that's not typical, because a lot of times South Carolina will be in the top 4 in the conference in home runs. So to show you that there's enough pop there, it's just they haven't done it consistently.
That is a foul ball. Four home runs for South Carolina. The last time anybody had 5 home runs in a game, LSU did it against Alabama in 1997 in Columbus, Georgia. The one year we took a break from Hoover, played here in 96, then went to Columbus in 97, and I think the decision was made to never leave Hoover again.
Sometimes you don't know how good you got it till you leave,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. I remember doing that tournament in 1997, and it was in an old ballpark in Columbus, and wasn't a whole lot of air conditioner, and it was, I'm talking like, it's been hot in Hoover, buddy, that was kind of at a whole nother level of heat.
You're also stating your age and how long you've been doing this, Mr. Dave.
Just watched a lot of ball. I mean, I watched this guy Lance Cormier pitch.
I didn't have to go to Columbus, though.
No, you did.
we
Good timing on your part.
Good AB right here by Kennedy Jones. I love the fact that the guy laid off that fastball right before that, and then he's locked in on the breaking ball the next pitch.
Boy, good look at this Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. What a fantastic venue for this event. Davis back over to first. A good time for a little action for South Carolina. Nobody out. Got to stay out of a double play.
Nolan's got enough speed. You have a pitcher that's kind of rattled a little bit, wants to get that out.
Ooh. Boy, rocket into that Alabama dugout. Let's hope everybody is all right. Goodness gracious. And, you know, it's not even sometimes the initial, it's like bounces off the back wall that can get you. Swing and a miss, and a big strikeout for Davis.
Jones is right on the slider. That's exactly what it was. The head pulls just a little bit, but I thought there was a good. The pitch is up over the zone, right where you want to be with 2 strikes. Jones just swings right through it.
One down for Dalton Reeves. Know what he did his last time up. A grand slam over the right field fence. Sharply hit. Hodo, LeBron, Davis. Oh, Davis was late getting over there. I think he knows it.
I think it's just the first initial reaction. I think he thought Hodo was going to step on the bag because he fakes a little bit, and then, yep, he is. But he shows, look, Davis is an athlete. He shows, hey, just leave me there. I'll get there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's got the glove out like, I'm going to get this. And it was a little bit behind him.
I think for LeBron, you're talking, hey, I don't know who's getting there, and I'm going to throw it in the vicinity of somebody, and they'll catch it. That is one of the toughest plays, though, for the lefty, because they're falling toward the third base side, and then he's got to get all the way across the first base and find the bag and then pick up the ball coming from the shortstop.
This ball is laced out to left. Petruk's there to make a catch. And the inning is over. But, man, it has been a group of 5 will make it.
And see, I think those numbers are a little skewed from like old school back in the day where only 8 teams made this tournament. And if it was kind of the thing where if you didn't make the SEC tournament, you weren't going to make the postseason. And I remember 2001, we tied at Alabama. We were 15-15. Auburn was 15-15. They had won the series, so they were 8th. We ended up 9th. We don't make the tournament. I think we had a top 30 RPI. We didn't make the tournament. The next year, Florida doesn't make the tournament as the number 9 team. They end up making the postseason. So I think those numbers, as you start to go, when the league's gotten even better and better, they're going to start to get skewed a little bit toward that 13 will get you in.
Gassetti, his second hit today. You know, here's my thought about this whole thing is that you're playing baseball in the best conference in America with the best RPI. A team, they put too much emphasis, in my opinion, on that 13 number as McCants tries to lay down a bunt. I mean, look at it objectively. Do you think Alabama is one of the best 64 teams in the country? Do you think Florida is one of the best 64 teams in the country? Do you think Vanderbilt's one of the best? And the answer to that is simply yes, I do. If you look at the teams on the bubble, and you were going to pair them against one of these teams in this league, I think that you would have to favor the SEC would win a 3-game series against those teams.
I agree, and I think when you look at the whole league in itself, 13 of the 14 teams were ranked at one point this year. 12 in D1. Ole Miss snuck in there, I think, in Baseball America. But outside of Missouri, they're the only team that didn't get ranked. Auburn started off ranked and obviously had a tough season. So you're gonna, when you're playing ranked teams, you're gonna have a tough time, especially having to go on the road.
So McCants strikes out. I'd have to really listen to your argument closely.
Well, I mean, even so, when you go to Florida, they have what the other peripheral numbers aren't as good, but then they have the number 1 strength of schedule. So you would assume their numbers aren't as good because they played the hardest schedule. But I think everybody on that graphic has an argument in some point of it.
I wonder if the softball committee talks to the baseball committee.
Hey, we did it, so y'all can too.
Ooh, there's a slow little chopper to second. Nolan will go to second, and they'll get the lead out there for the second out of the inning.
Boy, Veach up here just dominating these lefties with a little slow changeup and then going a little lower and slower on the next one, showing you don't have to have the velocity. Go out there and pitch with a nasty pitch like a changeup. Thought it was a smart move by Nolan, getting that lead runner, especially once Gassetti slows down a little bit to not get hit. Keeps that runner out of scoring position.
Bryce Eblin now 0 for 1. .277 on the year for Bryce, hitting 9th in this lineup. Boy, that is, as our director Jeff Evers just pointed out to me, that is a Bugs Bunny changeup right there. I mean, that thing is hard to hit.
Well, because it's so much slower. A lot of times you're starting to see the power changeup where fastballs might be 94, changeups in the 86 to 88. His fastball's 90 to 93, and it's a 74 to 77 mile-an-hour changeup.
Off the end of the bat, back out to Nolan. He'll go to first, and the inning is over. 7-5, South Carolina. He might be the most complete team that Tony Vitalo's had, and they've had some, some juggernauts. And what Kentucky has done this year is just amazing how good they have been from beginning to end. It has not been a fluke. And I said this last week as Casa steps in there. We used to give Kentucky this image of they play up north, field's always wet, it's snow, they can't get outside, takes them a while to get cranked up. Well, there was none of that going on. And I think a lot has to do with the fact that they've got this new complex. They can work out on that turf field. Vanderbilt did it years ago. I think one time, Tim Corbin told me they missed like 2 days where they used to miss before they went all turf. They would miss like 2 weeks of practice time outside. So I think that has something to do with it. But, it just shows Kentucky is the real deal.
Heard Coach Mingione in between games on the interview said Coach Mitch Barnhart, their AD, started spending money, and that's what it's going to take. Schools that are starting to spend money and put a lot of emphasis on baseball, you're starting to see success there. The crowds are starting to show up at their new ballpark, and it's an exciting brand of baseball, especially when they have the small ball going, they're stealing, they're bunting, they're doing things, and it's just frustrating the you-know-what out of a team.
In the series, even though they lost 2 or 3 in Lexington, there's called strike 3, so Davis gets the strike out of Casas. But even though they did lose 2 out of 3, watching that series, the environment, the excitement, it was all SEC baseball atmosphere up there for that series. And as he said earlier, Coach Minch said earlier that they got to start bringing in, they got a new ballpark, and it's getting so popular, they're bringing in bleachers, temporary bleachers for everybody.
Yeah, they sent that text, hey, by the way, our stadium's not big enough anymore. Can we get some plans going? But yeah, I had Tennessee the next weekend right after that, and Coach Vitello said, he goes, that was a super regional atmosphere as it comes. He goes, we've been there, and it was a great atmosphere in Kentucky. Obviously, they came out with the win, and so he was happy about that, he said. But still, it was a fun 3 days, which most of the time you don't say when you go to Kentucky, because it's usually cold, windy, rainy, and you just want to get out of there quickly.
Ground ball out to short. LeBron charges. Boy, he is effortless out there. It really is a smooth operation for Justin LeBron.
I love how he charges that ball with aggression, gets to it, and then he knows now I can take my time. And that's the whole part. Sometimes guys will take their time and then realize I got to rush the throw, which causes a bad throw. But he gets to the ball quickly and just smoothly throws the ball. Gets it, sets the feet, sets the shoulders, and then, yeah, I do have a good arm.
He does have something over there that's just special. A special tool. That right arm of his is electric.
That play he made earlier today, caught the ball in the 6 hole on the dive. The momentum was going off the back foot, and he throws a rope to first base for the out.
There's Kevin O'Sullivan. That ball is driven past Gage Miller into left field. That had some exit velo on it off the bat of Ethan Petrie.
Two really good signs for South Carolina, getting Casas, but also Messina and Petrie. You get the middle of that lineup going as you go into the postseason. These are 2 guys that can carry a ball club, and they're putting the barrel on the ball.
Blake Jackson 2 for 3 today. Couple of singles, scored a run. 2 down in the inning. Laser again through the right side. Petrie turns the corner. He's on his way to third, so they'll have him at the corners with 2 down. We have had 21 hits in this game already, 11 by South Carolina, and 4 of them went out of the yard. And a 3-hit day for Blake Jackson.
And at least 2 of those 3 have been off of lefties.
Now Cole Messina. He's 2 for 3 today. Singled in the 3rd and scored, and then homered in the 5th. His 17th home run of the year. His 54th run batted in. To stay in front of Ethan Petrie in that department by a couple.
A friendly competition. You know, they talk about that.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
He's like, well, you're only getting them because I'm on in front of you.
There's Petrie over at 3rd. Blake Jackson over at 1st. This is what it looked like at the
boy ball when he came in the dugout.
Delayed steal, and they'll throw back to 3rd. Gassetti leads the conference in throwing out runners with 16. Is that a decision with 2 outs? Is that a decision by Gassetti, or is that a called thing from the dugout not to throw down?
It's got to be called from the dugout, but also you can trust your senior catcher if it's not called, knowing that, hey, I know he got a great jump. I see he's already more than halfway. You know, what are we looking at? And sometimes you just you trust your player. It's the feel of the guy.
I think that was about location, that discussion with Davis. Yeah, see, he wanted it down and got that one up around the belt. Lifted in the air. Is this going to drop? It will. 1 hops off the wall. 2 runs will score. And Cole Messina's having some kind of day. 2 more RBIs. And he just picked up his 19th double.
That's an extra base hitting machine, Cole Messina. Well, you saw Matt Gassetti. We talked about it. Taps the ground, goes out and talks to him. It's the slider. He wants it in the same spot. But look where it stays, over the plate, and he just gets those arms extended backside, double right here. And you're talking with 2 outs as a pitcher, you got to be able to put that ball where you want to. You're ahead of the count. And the stuff that Alton Davis has, just the fastball is really good, the breaking ball is good, just hasn't had quite the location. So that's, you talk about he's throwing strikes, but it's command of the breaking ball, putting it where you want to be able to bounce it when you need it.
Parker Nolan looks at a strike.
So a lot of coaches are, you know, especially young, they're preaching, hey, you got to throw strikes, you got to throw strikes. Well, sooner or later, you got to be able to throw the ball where you want to, and sometimes that's not throwing strikes. And that's the pitch he needed.
A little late. South Carolina adds to their lead. It is one of the craziest pitching seasons I can remember. Skeens obviously was fantastic, but I'm just from a strikeout standpoint. I mean, the strikeout to walk ratio has been incredible. He's averaging 17.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, 150.
Well, he also, he throws hard. There was no doubt about that. But it was, hey, the guy's got a wipeout slider and it's tough. Well, last outing against A&M, he was touching 100. So you're like, and now he can also touch 100, and it's got that whippiness, sits all the way on the left side of the rubber for a left-hander, which is already tough on left-handers. And it's kind of a, you know, 3/4 slot with the whip on it. It's a tough at bat.
I don't know whose season's better, Skeens or his. I mean, it would be like hard to pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, similarities. You know, obviously one's a right-hander and already in the big leagues dominating.
Yeah, how about him striking out? Was the first 7 he faced the other day in his second start. But Skeens just last year was just an incredible run. And Hagen Smith has done the same thing this year for Arkansas. And really, you know, Skeens had the help of an offense that was really good. Arkansas's offense has been middle of the pack to the bottom, so to speak. There is a called strike 3. But you start comparing the 2 seasons.
Those numbers all you want when you have guys that are that good and they're going to be high draft picks. But I mean, look to see, you know, Skeens set the record with 209 punch-outs. Now, granted, he got all the extra starts you could get all the way into the College World Series. So I think that's the only thing that holds Hagen Smith back, is not getting those starts if Arkansas doesn't make it.
Remember last year in the championship game, the final game, and LSU ended up blowing out Florida in that game, but Skeens went down to the dugout. Everybody's watching. Is Skeens going to pitch in this game? Was short rest. He didn't have to, obviously. The game got out of hand a little bit, but I mean, just an incredible run. Best ratings ever for the College World Series last year.
The crowd goes nuts. He gets his backpack as he takes his little walk to the bullpen.
It's the same thing going on in Pittsburgh now. Can't believe they took him that long to get him up to the show. The Trucks 2 for 3 today. Talking about 2 guys, Smith and Skeens. You said throw 100, and then we got probably one of the better changeups I've seen so far from Veach. I mean, he's throwing at 73 miles an hour with some, it looks like almost like a knuckleball coming up there.
Yeah, nasty sink. He struck out the one. Gage Miller was a changeup up that broke in. I mean, he's moving it, lots of run on it. Just shows you that, like, hey, that can be an outstanding pitch. A lot of young guys don't want to throw it. They want to throw the breaking ball at 8 and 9 years old instead of learning how to develop the changeup.
73 miles an hour.
Watch, because there's been some that have been 74, 75, so it's being able to add and subtract on each pitch. And watch the swing. It's there. They think they're right on it, and they slow that swing up. It's a beautiful circle changeup, and then great little pronation. He gets inside the ball, and that's what he gets all that run on. I'm telling you, the good ones can take, they can add, they can make that changeup a little bit harder, they can make that changeup a little bit slower.
Now Justin LeBron. He gets a look at the changeup. I swear that, I mean, that if I didn't know that, if you couldn't see that grip, it looks like a knuckleball coming.
Especially when it has that much drop, too.
Is anybody in the bigs throwing a knuckleball these days?
I saw somebody is in a former infielders
doing
it
in there.
AAA, I think, or double A or triple A. Got 2 scoreless innings with it, so I don't know if you say he's going to be the next knuckleballer, but he's.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's throwing a knuckleball right now as a real pitch. Swing and a miss. Veach fired up. I mean, that makes that.
This gives you so much, you know, when you're looking at a scout watching a guy, the body type, everything about him.
Ground ball. Kennedy Jones out to Eblin. That'll be the first out. As Alabama going back to that bullpen as they grab Matthew Heiberger, the left-hander, the freshman out of Birmingham, Alabama. To Oak Mountain High School, just down the road, not far from here.
Goes the 2-seam and the 4-seam. Up to 93, slider change up, and just guy who believes in his fastball, pitched a lot early, kind of started to struggle, came on the scene, getting a lot of good outs, and they're like, hey, we found something, and then he struggled a little bit, and they stayed away from him, and back getting some outings.
I will say my son played travel ball tournament over at Oak Mountain High School this past summer. I think they got a turf field over there.
I would assume so. I think most places in Birmingham have the turf fields now.
Yeah, North Atlanta High School doesn't. My son's high school team played 5 home games this year.
Oh my gosh, that's bad scheduling, Coach.
Maybe APS, the Atlanta Public School System, maybe do something about that. Short, LeBron does it again. Good pick over there by Hodo.
Every now and then you need a little help.
Listen, it's not even personal. We're gone. My son's out of there now, so I'm just saying for the next generation, I'm trying to protect them.
That's right.
Let's go.
It just shows you the range right here, LeBron. A little deep in the hole. good plant. And sometimes, again, sometimes you need a little help from your buddies. Nice pick by Will Hoda. But yeah, that's tough. You scheduling. How do you raise money?
Don't get me started. LaCroix, only Gamecock not to reach today. He is 0 for 3. Up and away to Talmadge. South Carolina trailed 3-0 going to the third. Then they put a 6th spot on the board. Off of 3 home runs in the third. They added another home run. 4 total today for the Gamecocks. By 4 different players. Was a 6-3 game. Out to center field where McCants was there. Alabama closed it to 6-5, but thank you, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. Hameter. That one's out to right center. That is a long run for Brindling, and he's able to catch up to it right in front of that Mississippi State logo.
Again, the changeup just enough out in front. You see William Hameter maybe in any other ballpark might be off the wall or even a home run, but not in this big park. So when you got the big park, pitch to it.
Cade Snell. High in the air. Brindling makes the catch. That'll be 2 down.
Well, Coach Kingston said Johnny Holstaff. He didn't realize Johnny Holstaff meant let's just get to Chris Veach and see what he can do.
Veach is looking good. In this day and age when everybody's chasing velo, trying to throw hard, something to be said about a good changeup.
He is putting on a clinic with this changeup. And then when he throws the fastball, he does a little quick pitch like that. But Alabama's lineup is so left-handed heavy, and so a lot of times that is the pitch, a right-handed changeup to the left-handed hitters.
Off.
And it looks like it tumbles almost like you say, the knuckleball or even a good a fork ball, maybe even old school. You don't see many people throw that anymore, but it has that tumbling action.
My gosh, it is completely baffled this Alabama lineup. Slam. Gavin Casas with a solo shot. Cole Messina with a whole solo shot. Casas 2 for 3 today. To start things off, Gavin moves over to first base. Started the game at third base. Did that one clip him on the arm? Boy, got the pad again. Second time today we've seen the elbow pad come into play.
What goes around comes around. Oh. He actually looks like he puts that arm into the spot where it was.
If they're just gonna let the play on, I guess. Nobody wants to challenged that. Boy, Brindley. Looked like he was going to try to put the bunt down. Tries to slash it. He's 0 for 3 today. Was hit by a pitch, so he reached base. McCroy still the only guy in this South Carolina lineup to not reach base. Now it's 0-2 on the leadoff man for the Gamecocks. We're in the 8th inning. South Carolina came into this one having lost 6 straight games, swept in their last 2 conference series. Wouldn't know it by the way they've come out to play today.
Well, I was going to say, even just the first 2 innings, though, it came out a little sluggish, but Matthew Becker came in, punched out big situations. Sometimes it's a defensive play, sometimes it's a big punch out, and got a couple of guys getting some knocks together, and that's exactly what happened. 2 big punch outs, came back next inning, 6th spot.
And that one hit him. He's been hit twice today. Got hit in the helmet his last at bat. This one catches him in the arm.
Well, you got to think how gun shy you are when that ball's coming at your face again.
There's 93 in there to Ethan Petrie. Petrie 2 for 4. Petrie moved out to right field last inning. Still nobody out. Up on the zone, 2-2. These teams met in Tuscaloosa back in March. Crimson Tide won 2 of 3. Base hit to the left side. 3rd hit today for Petrie, and the bases will be loaded with nobody out.
Oh, just a good piece of hitting right there with Ethan Petrie. Fastball middle part of the plate. I think Cole Messina's paying off the third base coach. Hold him up, let me get the RBI. It's a little smart play though.
I just think South Carolina from a head standpoint needed it. See if they can get 2 here, and they do so, but the run scores.
I agree with you, confidence-wise, just mental space of thinking, hey, we've lost 6 in a row. This would have been 7 in a row. When you talk about getting the top of the lineup going, Brindley's been on base with hit by pitch, but how about 9 hits, the 3, 4, 5 spot with Petrie, Jackson, and Messina. 9 for 14, that's getting it done.
So Cole Messina is intentionally walked. And that'll take us to Parker Nolan. Runners at the corners in a 10-5 ball game.
Second baseman number 11, Parker Nolan.
I wouldn't have pitched Cole Messina either. He's 3 for 4 today with a double, a homer, and a single. That one misses a little bit low. Well, they got him picked off. Messina was breaking to second, and an easy throw over to first.
I knew he obviously went to LSU, but we were talking this morning. He grew up about 12, 15 minutes from me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Never knew it?
No, I mean, he's from New Iberia.
Yeah.
And I'm from Lafayette. Well, he's like, where'd you go? I grew up in Carencro. And so he obviously looked at me and started smiling, because most people, you say the big city where you grew up. But yeah, so we talked for a little bit and talked a little about New Iberia. He actually went to Westgate, which wasn't a school when I was there. The big school in New Iberia was New Iberia Senior High, where he's friends with former LSU pitcher and guy made his pitch in the big league, Shane Newman out of New Iberia. He's kind of the go-to guy out of New Iberia, but now I guess Jared Mitchell might be.
Yeah, exactly. How about that, a small world? DJ McCants, 2 for 3 today. His average at .313. I wonder if Todd Walker's gotten out of that big old bus he's in.
He will in about maybe after the 9th inning start walking up.
McCants goes down. Boy, Chris Veach out there talking to himself. He's loving life right this moment.
Well, 2 2/3 was the most he had gone. I mean, that is, when you talk about, they always say you pull the string. This is what it looks like. Guy goes to swing, you pull the string back and swings right through it, and there comes the ball. That's a beautiful pitch.
That ball's moving around so much, I'm surprised Cole Messina hadn't gone and got one of those old pizza mitts, the old knuckleball.
Yeah, knuckleball catcher. But he does a great job too, because he'll do the quick pitch on the fastball, he'll do the quick pitch on the changeup. He'll lift the leg on the fastball, he'll lift the leg high on the changeup. Truly just messing with timing, because that's what it is. That when you talk about as a pitcher, you're trying to disrupt timing, and right now Chris Veach is doing it with the best of them.
Will Hodo lifts it high in the air out to left. That'll be out number 2. Boy, that ball kept drifting and drifting. The wind's blowing out there. You look at those fields over the flags over in the left center field area, and they are blowing to left and out. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, get down. Boy, his changeup has been fantastic. We talked, I've said it 3 or 4 times, it almost looks like a knuckleball. It's moving so much, and we did find out there is one guy, at least one guy in the bigs throwing the knuckleball, Matt Waldron of the Padres. Still bringing the old knuckleball.
But what the changeup has done for him, it's only 48 pitches in 4+ innings, 4 1/3 inning. So he's economical in his pitches, which he's a guy that is only going 2 2/3. So the fact that he's at 4 1/3 already, giving South Carolina everything they needed.
Two down for Bryce Eblin. He's looking for his first hit. .93 on that fastball. It's up and out of the zone. Oh, see, he gassed that. Was 77. He brought the heat on that changeup. Does he go back to it? Maybe take a little off it?
For sure.
Yeah.
A good coach said lower and slower.
That ball is foul. See, he went back with 77, almost timed it up.
That's right.
That's a strike.
So now 1-2. I mean, you could expand he's so far in the head of the Alabama hitters. You can expand with the fastball, but you can also go off the plate, down on the changeup, going for the swing and miss. .92 fastball.
So now if I'm Eblin, I'm in there thinking, okay, there is no doubt I'm getting a changeup right here.
Sell out.
Right.
Selling out for it.
Right. If he wants to throw a fastball by me, so be it.
Right. I'm going to look stupid that way, but I'm going to get him on the other one.
Right. It was, but off the plate.
Guess what? Selling out the same pitch.
Exactly.
I'm going same one. He's not going to do it again. He's not going to throw the fastball.
There it is. I mean, in this game, look at he's practicing his.
I'll show you what I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to ride. I guess they're going to ride him out. There's nobody
absolutely.
in there.
So whatever y'all do, don't get anybody warming up. There's guys you played with that they hated to see somebody warming up because it was almost like a slap in their face. It was, so like, don't get anybody on base. Nobody's going to warm up. So looks like that's what Chris Veach was saying. Hey, don't worry about it. I got this game.
That one is fouled straight back. 2 strikes on Parker Nolan. The new arm as Myers makes his way onto the bump for Alabama. That one's up and away. Braylon, the junior out of Bessemer, getting some work, making his 19th appearance. 2.6 ERA. 30 innings, punched out 25.
Yeah, he's kind of that old reliable guy. You know, you just know what you're going to get. It's going to be strikes. See only 8 walks in 30 and 2/3 innings. The strikeouts are there, so he's got good enough stuff. The stuff is ticked up from last year. Each year he's been in college, it's gotten a little bit better.
So Parker Nolan starts off South Carolina half of the 9th with a base hit, number 14 for the Gamecocks. And Will Tippett coming to the plate. His first at-bat of the game came in to play a little outfield. Will, the sophomore out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, went to St. Pius High School in Atlanta. Will hitting just 175 this year. Had a little pop with 4 home runs in his 20 hits. He offers up. 2-1. There's a strike. Now it's 2-2. Well, you heard Coach Kingston in the dugout say, keep your head still. He did keep his head still. He just didn't get.
He kept the bat still.
Right.
And didn't go out and get the bunt down.
Monty Lee going out to talk to Will Tippett. Will Tippett, they're going to ask him to lay the bunt down with 2 strikes and can't do it. And he'll head back. It's a long walk, buddy.
Yeah, a 5-run ball game. Want to see why he did that. Don't understand, but I think that's what Coach Lee went out there, because almost like he looked at the sign and was like, well, is that what you really meant?
So now Dalton Reeves. Way out in front of that one. It'll be off the netting. And the one guy that we've start looking at some of the stars in this league, and one of the guys that we really haven't hit on, and we'll certainly talk more about him tomorrow, is Christian Moore of Tennessee, who has just had an amazing season, especially in conference games. But he's been overshadowed again by Caglione, Charlie Condon, Braden Montgomery. But in conference games, Christian Moore this year hit .429, the best in the league.
Yeah, 20 homers too, right?
Yeah, he had 20 homers,
in
6 doubles.
30 games, 20 homers against the league's best.
57 hits against conference pitching, was way out in front of everybody else.
Yeah, there's 2, maybe even 3 guys that hands down win Player of the Year any other year outside of this year.
Fastball there from Myers. You are not going to keep Mr. Veach from going back in this game.
He's throwing in the dugout. He is practicing the motion.
I want to talk to that guy. Let's hope he can. If he's able to finish this off, I think that interview might be.
Punch out the side, walk straight to the mic, grab the headset and say, let's go.
Like a WWE event. You want to beat the man. Throw down to second, and Gassetti does it again. That is the 17th runner he has thrown out. That is tops in the Southeastern Conference. Versus Vanderbilt. And he'll probably surpass that today. And you look at where the South Carolina team is, and really a much-needed win today if they can hold on to this one. And D1Baseball.com has them projected as a 3 seed heading to Clemson. Boy, that would be some kind of environment.
That would be one of those atmospheres that would be, because especially as a 3 seed. So you're looking at, I don't know who would be stuck in that 2 seed, but still would not want to have that.
And of course, be a homecoming of sorts for Monty Lee, assistant coach for South Carolina. He was the head coach for a long time at Clemson. Took over for Jack Leggett, the legend. Top of the lineup now for Alabama. Gage Miller 1 for 3 today. Gage 18 homers, 56 runs batted in. There is a strike at 75 miles an hour. I mean, seriously, at this point, you just got to sit on the changeup. And if he's going to throw you 3 fastballs for a strike, so be it.
You're right.
Slow roller. Veach fields, throws, 1 down. I mean, even, and you know they're sitting on it now, and they still can't get the bat to the ball.
Well, Gage Miller is such a fastball hitter. It's really hard for him probably to sit on that, but showing you he can feel the position again. And boy, he's got the strut working too. After the throw, he's feeling it. Sometimes you just are in the zone and everything you do is good.
He's now matched that Vanderbilt performance with 57 pitches.
We used to say, me and a guy, J.P. Howell, played at Texas, first rounder at the Royals, made a good career with the Rays. When in doubt, hook him, right. Throwing the break ball. This is his thing, is when in doubt, just pull the string.
Yeah.
It is 72. Look, he went a little slower. Because it's got to look like a beach ball coming in there, and then you go to swing and it's not there anymore.
Fastball's ticked down a little bit. We've seen him at 92, 93. That was 89 miles an hour.
What do you think goes through the head of the hitter? You sit there and you just take a fastball right down the middle at 89.
Hit hard out to right. This one will bounce off the wall. And that'll be a double for Petrutz. That's his 3rd hit today. Boy, Petrie's out there in right field, and it almost looked like he didn't see the ball very well.
Yeah, I know he's staring right into that sun we talked about earlier in the game, right above home plate. We've seen a couple balls in the first game misplayed out there in right field, and yeah, that's where you want to run with the glove. kind of blocking the sun, just run out there. But all the times when you run with your glove up, it slows you down as well.
So now Justin LeBron, who hasn't had a hit today, he looks at a first pitch strike. There's another strike. Out to left. Jackson there to make the catch. 2 down. So 1 out to go for South Carolina. Team that had lost 6 in a row coming into this event.
Right fielder number 11, William Canada.
Single elimination day on Tuesday, so Alabama going to head back to Tuscaloosa, and again, much like Georgia, just kind of wait to see how things shake out. Georgia, though, Beach slips and falls, and that one hits Hamiter in the leg, so they'll have him first and second with 2 outs. But Georgia's clearly in the tournament. Their question is, would they be a top 8 now? Gates had 5 home runs this year. He lifts it high in the air, popped up, shortstop. Tippett makes the catch, and this one's in the books, and what a job by Chris Veach. Can't make it up. There's always a story at the SEC tournament, and day 1, Chris Veach certainly will be a headline as he goes I just think South Carolina, from a head standpoint, needed it. See if they can get 2 here, and they do so, but the run scores.
I agree with you. Confidence-wise, just mental space of thinking, hey, we've lost 6 in a row. This would have been 7 in a row. When you talk about getting the top of the lineup going, Burnling's been on base with hit by pitch, but how about 9 hits, the 3, 4, 5 spot with Petrie, Jackson, and Messina. 9 for 14. That's getting it done.
So Cole Messina is intentionally walked. And that'll take us to Parker Nolan. Runners at the corners in a 10-5 ball game.
Second baseman number 11, Parker Nolan.
I wouldn't have pitched Cole Messina either. He's 3 for 4 today with a double, a homer, and a single. That one misses a little bit low. Well, they got him picked off. Messina was breaking to second, and an easy throw over to first.